The ninja bam used for toys doesn't explode, but instead shreds victim to pieces. Hellfire R9X missile. 6 blades. No warhead. Seeker system. 1.8 meters. 6 feet. B-side of Punk Bank Dead Kennedy's tape. Home taping is killing record industry profits. We left this side blank, so you can help. Reactions to the Lady Gaga meat dress at the 2010 vmas. Blue babies, a perfectly preserved steppe bison, found completely by chance in Alaska in 1979. The animal died some 36,000 years ago and was so well preserved that researchers were able to cook and eat a part of its neck muscle. The meat was described as tough and the taste earthy and delicious. This house for sale in San Antonio comes with its own cabin. I found 150 pieces of corn on my floor. My house is from the 1700s. Long before color-sensitive film was invented, Russian photographer Sergei Prokhodenkorsky took 3 individual black and white photos, each with a filter, red, blue, and green, to create high-quality photos in full color. This self-portrait is over 110 years old. Father Juan Pablo takes abandoned dogs out of the streets, feeds them and bathes them. He then presents a dog to every mass, to find each one a home. I spent 4 years trying to grow salt cubes at home. Here are the largest and most transparent crystals I've managed to grow so far. There is a tribe found in Zimbabwe called Badoma. They carry a genetic defect in which they only have 2 toes, commonly called ostrich claws. They use their feet to their advantage to easily climb trees and gather food. They do not see this as a genetic defect, but rather treat it as a blessing. 26-inch thick armor from a Japanese Yamato class battleship, pierced by US Navy 16-inch gun. The armor is on display at the US Navy Museum. Cat with a bicolor face is the father of Tickertons who shared their colors. Cross-section of an asbestos-laden seabed filter. Kent's micronite filter seabeds were popularly marketed as a taste improvement and kind on the lungs. We are from the Maasai tribe, and one of our wedding rituals is to shave the bride's father with milk. This 1974 photograph shows the true colors of the freshly unearthed terracotta warriors before rapid deterioration due to environmental exposures. 20,000 Americans attend a Knees rally in Madison Square Garden, February 20, 1939. Azalea the chimpanzee lives in a North Korea zoo and smokes about a pack a day. She has learned to light the seabeds with a lighter, or by touching another lit seabed. Right now Saturn is at its closest point to Earth. This is an image of it I captured last night from the roof of a parking garage in Southern California, after driving for hours to escape the Arizona monsoons. Kaiser Wilhelm II smoking in Silesia circa 1913. The Play-Doh of this cranium board game keeps producing these crystals over time. Big shout out to whoever it was that turned in 62 3D printed guns for $150 each at a Houston done by Back. A box of what authorities described as ghost guns were collected during the buyback event. Saturday, July 30th, 2022 at Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church in Houston. 2 years ago, I teamed up with a fellow Redditor to try and take the most ridiculous moonshot we could come up with. Today we proudly introduce our newest collaboration, a 174 megapixel look at our cosmic companion. Ronald Reagan had half his head shaved for surgery to reduce fluid buildup. He was also still suffering from Alzheimer's during this photo. A trench raider during World War I. Both sides had them, and they were sent in small groups where they snuck into forward enemy trenches and killed everyone. Armed with a revolver, several knives, and brass knuckles. It was a fully volunteer position. Results of a surgery performed by Dr. Marino Canas in Costa Rica 1936. Considered amazing for the time and the resources of the country at the moment. Yemeni students leave their Kalashnikovs outside the classroom as they take their exams. Pakistan has had so much rain recently, a giant inland lake has formed which can be seen on Shutty satellite imagery. Wedding rings removed from Holocaust victims before they were executed. Aitzaz Hazar, a 15-year-old Pakistani schoolboy, sacrificed his life while preventing a seaside bomber from entering his school of over 2,000 students. His father, devastated, said, "My son made his mother cry, but saved hundreds of mothers from crying for their children." World. Scientists found a preserved T-Rex soft tissue containing blood and is estimated to be around 68 million years old, 2005. Topological map carved on duct tape by Takahiro Iwasaki. Domino's Japan delivers to the summit of Mount Fuji. Lithuania and Poland built a portal connecting two of their cities by showing live video through them. Anti-British propaganda from Japan 1941. Sunlight through this fountain looks like it is pouring lava. L'Aquila, Italy. Hihoba meteorite is the world's biggest meteorite. This 15-year-old girl lived in the Inca Empire and was sacrificed 500 years ago as an offering to the gods. In 1964, Ringo Starr snapped a photo of high school students who skipped class to see the Beatles during their first trip to the US. The group had no idea the photo existed until Ringo published his book of photos. Nearly 50 years later, the group reunited and recreated the photo. One Eye'd Willie ship on the set of the movie The Goonies 1985. Jochen Rindt was an Austrian Formula 1 driver. In the 1970 season he crashed and died at the Italian Grand Prix, but he built up a big enough lead in the Drivers' Championship by that time that nobody was able to catch up to him in the following rounds, making him the only posthumous F1 champion. Radioactive energy drink in the 1918. This hot air balloon. This hot air balloon was modeled to look like the house from Up. It's adorable. Adventure is out there. During World War II, Polish Army had an actual bear in its ranks, who was formerly enrolled as a private. For his bravery in battle, the bear was promoted to corporal. Meet Corporal Wojtek. And yes, this is a true story. One of the rarest chicken breeds in the world that were only owned by kings and emperors. The Dank Dose chicken. No, not a utopian sci-fi movie set. This is present-day Singapore. We are from the Maasai tribe and this hat you see is for the ceremonial chief. In the past we made it from lion fur, but to protect the endangered animal we changed our rituals. Salt Mountains in Iran. In 1992, the Miami Zoo put 30 flamingos in the bathroom to protect them from Hurricane Andrew. An identity thief stole the identity of a surgeon, and while aboard a Navy destroyer, was tasked with performing several life-saving surgeries. He proceeded to memorize a medical textbook just beforehand and all the patients survived. 2 pairs of black and white twins born to the same British couple. In Finland, when you get PhD diploma you receive top hat and a sword. Chichen Itza before and after the rebuild agreement with Mexico and USA to essentially turn it into a tourist attraction. Porn found inside of Queen. Calvine UFO photo. World's best ever UFO image taken in Scotland 1990, revealed after 32 years. The Far Side of the Moon, recorded by Apollo 16 in 1972. The far side of the moon, also called the dark side of the moon or the dark side of the moon, is the lunar hemisphere that cannot be seen from Earth. Jupiter, as the NASA's James Webb Space Telescope sees it. The sand in Okinawa, Japan contains thousands of tiny stars. These grains of sand are actually exoskeletons of marine protozoa, which lived on the ocean floor 550 million years ago. Trucks 50 years ago versus today. Arnold Schwarzenegger with Wilt Chamberlain and Andre the Giant on the set of Conan the Destroyer 1983. The back of Tutankhamun's famous golden mask. Wish I knew what the hieroglyphics said. 94 years old gay man and a Christian protester at Pride event in Brighton, England. News from 110 years ago about climate. Orania is South Africa's white-only town. The town was founded with the goal of creating a stronghold for the Afrikaner minority group. Top 5 regrets of the dying. Phenomenal clarity of vision people gain at the end of their lives. Same top 5 regrets people expressed in the last 12 weeks of life. 1. I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. 2. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Every male patient felt they missed their children's youth and partner's companionship. 3. I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. 4. I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. 5. I wish that I had let myself be happier. Realized happiness was a choice. Gershon Verk, the first Sikh US Air Force cadet. These are the dummy heads used by inmates Frank Morris, Clarence Anglin, and John Anglin when they made their escape from the notorious Alcatraz Island Penitentiary on the night of June 12, 1962. They escaped using a raft made of raincoats, and 60 years later, they still haven't been found. Saw this today at the National Museum of Native American History. Colorized photo of 9 European monarchs that ruled in 1910. South Korean Professor Cho Ji-won invented a toilet that turns poop into energy and pays people in digital currency. A person defecates 500 grams per day, converted into 50 liters of methane gas which generates 0.5 kilowatt hour. Toilet uses earn ghoul, a literal shutcoin. West Texas storm chaser Laura Rao captured the picture of a lifetime. Fantastic shot of a mature supercell thunderstorm, illuminated at varying heights from the setting sun. Seals do something called the banana pose when they feel safe and content. A US Air Force lieutenant is held captive by a young North Vietnamese soldier 1967. The most disliked comment on Reddit. The intent is to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes. As forecast, we selected initial values based upon data from the open beta and other adjustments made to milestone rewards before launch. Among other things, we are looking at average per player credit earn rates on a daily basis, and we'll be making constant adjustments to ensure that players have challenges that are compelling, rewarding, and of course attainable via gameplay. We appreciate the candid feedback and the passion the community has put forth around the current topics here on Reddit, our forums and across numerous social media outlets. Our team will continue to make changes and monitor community feedback and update everyone as soon and as often as we can. Negative 668,000. This is a 392-year-old Greenland shark, discovered about 5 years ago. This guy has been swimming since 1627, when Charles I was on the throne of England. 2 guys casually chilling on the top of a Brabant clock tower, 601 meters, including the tip, in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. It took me 4 months to fold this origami knight from one uncut square of paper. A hair freezing competition in Canada. A red statue of Putin riding a tank has been installed in a playground in New York City. Stalin at his wife's funeral, she softened my heart of stone. With her died my last warm feelings for humanity. The interior of the Orient Express. This long-distance passenger train was created in 1883. A turtle reawakening from hibernation carrying a mini world on its back. This picture was taken at a children's puppet show, catching the children at the exact moment the dragon was slain. Alfred Eisenstadt, Paris 1963. Common knowledge, but it still blows me away every time. Pug skull versus borzoi skull. Same species. In Australia, your tax return document shows where your tax money was spent. The first simulated image of a black hole, calculated with an IBM 7040 computer using 1960 punch cards and hand plotted by French astrophysicist Jean-Pierre Luminat in 1978. P.K. Mahanandia, an Indian painter, cycled 4,000 miles from India to Sweden to meet his love Charlotte as he could not afford the plane ticket. They got married in 1979. A man who was cutting a tree finds 15 kilograms of honey inside it in Kurdistan region, Iraq. A man named Robert Lane named his two sons Winner and Loser. Winner grew up to be a criminal, and Loser became a detective. This shadow on the Superstition Mountains, Apache Junction, Arizona, the cougar, only appears twice a year for approximately a week, just as the sun is setting. Soldier turtle and blocking the entrance with its head for unwanted visitors. It is called as phragmosis. The most remotest settlement in the world, Edinburgh of the Seven Seas, is situated in the middle of the South Atlantic Ocean. Roughly 270 people live on this island and call it home. Where the internet comes into my city. Apollo 11 spacecraft, Discovery Space Shuttle, SpaceX Dragon. An abandoned fishing village in China, reclaimed by the nature. Staircase designed by Leonardo da Vinci, 1516. The skull of a Purosaurus, one of the biggest crocodiles to have ever lived. The astronauts of Crew 2 enjoying their last day on Earth before they go to spend 6 months on the ISS, International Space Station. Titanic compared to a modern-day cruise ship. A purchasable single plant that can grow tomatoes and potatoes, aptly named ketchup and fries. The Spanish Stonehenge is above water for the first time in 50 years. The Border Patrol in the El Paso sector arrested 3 resourceful illegal migrants who were dressed in disguise while trying to blend in with the area. In Iceland, all the bottled water is labeled in English because only tourists buy it. The rest of their products are in Icelandic. 95% of all water in Iceland comes from natural springs, including their tap water. It is one of the cleanest in the world. Bottle where they grow a whole pear in the bottle before filling it with alcohol. Just found this 3.5 inches floppy disk with a built-in solar-powered calculator from the 90s. Still works. Ants bury a dead bee in flowers. Enormous flea and tick spray poster on the mall floor. I remember seeing this image in Reader's Digest book when I was a kid and didn't expect to find it again. It's 40 portraits of different species of apes. The nuclear shadow of a Hiroshima man eerily scorched onto the stone steps of a local bank. It is one of the most complete impressions left behind by the blast, and remained in place for over 20 years, before it was removed and taken to the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum. We are from the Maasai tribe and this is our warrior ceremonial walk, to show discipline and strength. A 16th century map of Nicosia, Cyprus, and a modern aerial photo of the walled city. The before and after in La Palma, Spain, where the Cumbavija volcano erupted for 80 plus days in 2021. In 2019, British photographer Ewan Ranachan attempted to recreate the Jaws movie poster in real life. Standing in a shark cage in the waters off the west coast of Mexico, he eventually managed to take a photo of the 17-foot great white shark. This was the result. Driving through the Outback is still a real adventure and requires serious preparation on some routes. Yundumu. Next fuel service Halls Creek 760 km. A study by the British Pilots Association found out that almost half of airline pilots studied admitted to falling asleep flying the plane. 29% of them also reported waking up to find their co-pilot asleep. In 1955 in Italy, defense shoes, complete with spurs on toes and heels, to kick away Slex pests, were designed by a Roman shoemaker to protect young girls from street